Hey, this is Justin with DayTradeTheMarkets.com on February 20th. Had a major sell-off in a lot of different markets today, and I wanted to do a bar-by-bar replay of the crude oil here just to show a little bit more of the thought process rather than just looking at it after the fact. Just show a little bit more of the thought process that goes into looking at this software and how we tend to like to look at the markets and how it can certainly help you increase your ability to see the market more clearly in real time so that you can then make better decisions. And obviously, if you make better decisions more consistently, your results take care of themselves. And that's the key I want to say ahead of time. We look at various pieces of information with the software and with this method, and the idea here is that you have different pieces of evidence, and the more pieces of evidence that you have that line up, the better your understanding of the market, so that you can therefore make better decisions. So it doesn't mean that you take this is some kind of magic trading system or anything. If that's what you're looking for, if you're looking for someone to some quote guru to call out trades, that's not what this is about. What this is really about is helping you really learn the skill of trading and seeing what's going on underlying what's going on in the market in terms of the auction process, so that you can process what's going on in real time a little bit better, so that you can avoid more losing trades and you can get into more winning trades. And beyond that, what we found to be very helpful is that you can stay in winning trades a lot longer. So again, the idea here is we have a lot of different pieces of evidence that are helping us make a little bit better sense of the market, and from that you either can use this as a standalone to enter trades, or you can use this as a more of a confirmation or as a kind of a think twice type of indication for other trading methods that you might use. For example, if you have a trading method that you're using, we've found this to be very successful for a lot of people, using this additional piece of evidence as confirmation, like, oh, that trade setup that I'm looking for really makes sense. I'm seeing that it's confirmed by the DayTradeTheMarkets software. Or, hey, I better think twice. I'm selling into a support zone, or some buying is starting to come in. I better not sell right here. That sort of thing. It can really just increase your edge. And if you're looking for a way to increase your edge, which is really the key to successful trading, then this is you're going to find this very helpful. And one of the really key important parts is what we call our relative aggression bars, and that's basically what we're looking for is these level 2 and level 3 aggression bars are telling us when buyers or sellers are really coming in strong, because it's aggression that moves the market. So we're seeing in real time whether buyers or sellers are stepping in, and then to the degree that they are. So moderately, strongly, or extremely, and kind of following along with, is there follow through, is there rejection, is that what we expect, is this counter to what we expect? Kind of going through that process throughout the day can act as a really nice roadmap to, again, help you stay on the right side of the market. If you can just stay on the right side of the market, you avoid more losing trades, you get into more winning trades. So let's go ahead and again, start with the idea of looking at a little bit of context with our bigger picture bias and that sort of thing. So if we go to crude oil, here is heading into the day, we had a gap from a few days back between about 97.27 and 97.48 or so. So that's kind of a key reference area that we want to watch. And also on the bigger picture, we've been in more of a down bias. And you can also see that if we click on, here's a 15-minute chart, a little bit bigger picture, and this shows what happens through the day. So at this time, we don't know that all of this has happened. We just know that about the time we open, we know that we're in a bigger picture, a little bit of a resistance zone here, as well as this gap. So we really want to see, and then longer term from much earlier, we've been in a pretty good sell-off. Okay, so we want to see, can this selling gap hold? Can this resistance hold from the bigger picture? And how does the market react when we test into there? So that's kind of our bigger picture context as we're heading into the day. Hopefully that makes sense. So let's go ahead and, excuse me. Now, again, this is a 2-minute chart of crude oil. You could look at this on any time frame. You could look at a 30-second, a 1 minute, a 5-minute, 15-minute, 30-minute, really long term to short term, whatever your preference would be. The same logic would apply, the same decision-making process, and that's really the point I'm trying to make with this video. Just kind of go through it. So we'll go ahead and start the video. I'll go and fast forward, and I'll kind of pause it when we need to discuss anything. So you can see there our first major structure is a level 2 buying bar. So that's generally speaking a bullish indication, but we want to put that in context to see how the market reacts within this gap right here. Can we get through that gap on some positive buying aggression? If so, we have to question our bigger picture outlook. In other words, our expectation heading into the day is that we're in more of a bigger picture down market. So we want to see if the market shorter term, or the context of the shorter term, can confirm that, in which case we want to definitely jump on board some kind of a short opportunity. Or we want to see if the intraday or during the day structure that we're seeing is contradictory to that bigger picture down bias, in which case we'd want to think about, okay, being careful on the short side or potentially jumping on board something on the long side. So hopefully that makes sense. You can see we've tested into the gap there. No major structures at this point. We're starting to sell off with some what we call level 1 bars. Don't pay too much attention to those. I mean, they're information, but you don't want to go crazy looking at a level 1 bar. But it is showing us that so far this gap is holding. And here is our first. I'm going to pause it right here because this is an interesting bar when you're looking at this in real time. Again, we want to see if this gap can hold. So far it has. It's attracted some moderate selling on there. It even decelerated when we had a buying bar. And now we're at a position here where the first major structure of the day, this level 2 buying bar, the low of that quote should hold. But we've tested into this gap, and bigger picture, we're thinking it should sell off. We're getting some selling, and now we have a level 2 selling bar. So we basically have, in a sense, we have basically a little bit of a mini battle is what we call it, from in this area here, from this level 2 up through this gap down to where this this level 2 selling bar right here is testing the low of this level 2 buying bar. So we want to see, can this area hold, and do we go retest into this gap and potentially go make new highs, or can we take out the low of this and have more selling aggression coming in? This is kind of our first major clue of the day within the context of how the market reacts around this gap. So hopefully that makes some sense. So we'll go ahead and play this forward again. Go in a little bit of fast speed, and I'll pause it when we have anything to discuss and just talk about the decision-making process or trying to make sense of what's going on in the market. So now we're testing the high of this level 2 bar. So again, this quote should hold, just as the low of this level 2 buying bar should hold. So we want to see basically which side wins with the context that we think the market's going to sell off bigger picture. Okay, so let me pause it there. Now you can see that we have tested the low here. We've tested into the gap and have attracted some selling. We've tested into this minor support that we think this level 2, again, quote, should hold. The level 2 selling bar, quote, the high of that should hold, so we have a little bit of a conflict here, a battle. And you can see we took out the low of this bar and the low of this bar on what we call a level 3, or extreme selling aggression. So all things equal, this is telling us that this gap has acted as some pretty good resistance. Now we're starting to see some aggressive selling start to come into the market, and especially if we can get some follow through, again, because our expectation is selling and we're starting to see some selling, so especially if we can get some follow through on this level 3 bar, that's a pretty good sign that at a minimum you want to avoid the long side, and certainly you want to be looking for a way to get on board on the short side. That could be with any one of a number of trade type setups that we talk about, or it could be something that you already use, a method that you're already using. This is just giving you that extra confirmation you definitely want to be on the short side. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. So let's go ahead and play this forward a little bit more. And again, I'll pause it when there's something that we need to discuss. Okay, so level 2 bar, selling bar, that's confirming follow through. So at this point, we have to be thinking, bears are definitely in control at this point. And essentially, and now we have a high velocity move, that's confirmation as well. And so at this point, what we're seeing, or what we're thinking, is we've got a very strong wave of selling that began in this area, confirmation of the gap. Until this high is taken out, we can certainly be two-sided, but we're definitely going to want to be very careful on the long side. At this point, we have a pretty clear, pretty strong vertical selling move that's materializing. So again, at a minimum, avoid the long side, and then also try to figure out a way in which to get short. I'm not going to get into all that at this point. I really want to just talk about trying to make sense, put the market in context, so to speak. stay on the right side of the market. If you can, in other words, if you can get on the right side of the market, how you get in is actually of less importance than just being on the right side. Don't misunderstand that. It's not. I'm not saying that entries don't matter. Entries do matter. It's just if you can. So again, we're selling off pretty strongly here. More level 3 bars. At this point, there's the level 3 continuation trade we talk about, a level 3 retracement trade, a level 3 breakout trade, a lot of different ways you can get on board. The important point is having the context to, okay, let me pause it right there. Okay. Again, pure selling wave underway at this point. However, let's have a look at, we had an attempted, the market auctioned low enough to attract a little bit of buying. Level 3 buying bar. Okay, in the context of a down auction, we want to see, is that kind of last gasp, or is that actually some buying coming in? If we get followed through higher, okay, we have to say, okay, this pure wave of selling is over, and now we're two-sided. When this gets rejected right away, in other words, high wasn't even tested, low was taken out right away, and it was taken out with a level 3 selling bar, and that's just kind of a signal that bears are just absolutely in control of this market. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. So let's play it forward. Okay, more selling. Okay, now here is again another level 3 buying bar. This one is starting, okay, to attract some buying. So we have finally auctioned low enough. Hold on. We've auctioned. Okay, so now at this point, what it's telling us is that the market's auctioned low enough to attract some buying, and we actually got a little bit of follow through on this buying bar. So what is that telling us? It's telling us, number one, this wave of pure selling that started in here has come to an end. That doesn't mean the market's going to rally and make new highs. That's not what I'm saying. But it's telling us basically we've become more of a two-sided or consolidating type market. The pure vertical selling action is to this point over, and now it's more two-sided. Now, if we can continue to get some buying aggression, that buying bars that the lows hold, well, then it would tell us at least short-term buyers are trying to assert some control, but they still have to get through some pretty strong, obstacles, you could say, or some seller-controlled territory, which would be basically, this area here is very much seller-controlled territory that sellers should defend, so to speak. Then we've had this pure wave of selling right in here. We've just now tested up to this part. So, it's seller-controlled territory. Bulls would have to be very strong to get through that, okay? But at least it's telling us that this pure wave of selling, so if you were on board a short, it's telling us the pure wave of selling has at least ended. You would want to think about getting out of that trade, okay? Hopefully that makes some sense. We're just trying to look at what the evidence is telling us to help us make the best possible decision based on our needs, based on our trading style, based on all the other factors. This is simply a tool that's giving you evidence to help you make better decisions. Hopefully that resonates with you and makes sense. Okay, so let's go ahead and play this forward. But you can see we've had a huge move down. We had early evidence, as we tested this gap, we had some extreme selling coming in. Now we've got a little bit of buying coming in. So can we continue to get a follow through on these buying structures, or will sellers try to come back and push the market downward? So there's a deceleration, level 3 selling bar. So now sellers are trying to come back in. Here's another level 3 selling bar. So again, that makes sense. We're in more of a two-sided action. If we can take out this low and this support zone here, that would certainly be extremely bearish. At this point, we're still kind of in, I guess you could call, another mini battle here. Let me pause this. We're in a, just trying to make sense of this. We've had a wave of pure selling, a vertical selling move. Now we're more two-sided, starting from down here through where some buying came in. This is kind of some selling came in. We're in basically a little bit of a mini consolidation or a battle, and until one of these sides breaks short term, we have to say the market's in consolidation. Okay, hopefully that makes sense as well. So we'll just play this forward. And again, you can see we're in consolidation. We would want to see what happens when we test the upper limits up here, and we would want to see what happens when we test the lower limits of this kind of buy-sell situation here. Sorry, I had to pause the video for a second, so I'll try to pick back up here. But again, we want to just monitor what happens in this mini battle when we test the high or test the low of this little mini battle consolidation in crude. If we can test the low of this, mini battle, as I call it, and we do so on some strong selling aggression, we're going to probably make new lows. If we test the high of this on some strong buying aggression, well, we're going to go test into this, seller controlled zone, so to speak, right here. Okay. So again, we're just consolidating even more so at this point. And again, just at this point really consolidating quite a bit. Let me play it forward a bit more. Okay, so there's a level 2 bar. We're probably going to go test the lows. Now let's see what happens. Okay, let me pause it here. We're testing the low of this zone that I was talking about earlier. Okay, and we are also coming into some support here in the green. This green zone here is support right here. And so we want to see, this is a very important bar to see if we're going to go ahead and make new lows or if this support's going to hold. If this level 3 selling bar right here has its low taken out and or the high of this holds pretty nicely, we're going to go make new lows. If this thing gets rejected pretty quickly, then on that time down it didn't happen. It may happen, we may knock on the door again, but on this time down it's not going to happen. Okay, so that's kind of what we're looking for here. Number one, do we get some strong aggression? And then number two, do we get some follow through? Just like we talked about on the first extreme bar of the day, this one right here. Okay, we have it. Now do we get follow through? Yes, we did. Okay, follow through, it's on. This one here, again, do we get follow through on this? Yes, we do. Let's keep going. Do we get follow through on this one? Yes, we do. Let's keep going. Okay, that's the idea. So do we get follow through on this bar will be an interesting thing to watch. So let's play it forward. And you can see here, we did not take out the low of that. When we tested the high of it, we actually had a little bit of, strong, what we call strong buying aggression that came in. So, again, we're basically in this zone here. We've tested the lower extreme and essentially have been rejected. Now let's see if we can go test the upper extreme. Now I know the market's about to close, but that's kind of the thought process that goes into that. So, again, just to recap this a little bit, and I'll try to get this done in less than a minute. Just to recap, what are we looking for? We're trying to take bigger picture context, again, with the bigger picture down market and this gap as potential bigger picture resistance. And we want to see, does the market confirm that, or does it give us contradictory evidence? And you can see we tested into that and then sold off pretty hard starting here and had a pure wave of selling until this bar here, where we had actually some buying that came in that had a little bit of follow through. So doesn't mean buyers are in control. It just means this pure wave of selling is over, and now we're in a more of a two-sided scenario. That was confirmed that we were two-sided when this came in. Okay, so now we're in a much smaller type of a consolidation, and we want to see how the market reacts when we test the lows here, or if we were to test the highs here of this smaller consolidation. And you can see we didn't get any follow through on this bar here. I would have thought we would have, frankly, but we didn't. And you can see not only did we not, but we had some buying that came in that was attracted once we tested those support zones, that support zone there. So again, that's what we're looking for. So heading into the overnight into tomorrow, let's see who wins this little mini battle. And then tomorrow, obviously, we want to see, can this area that's been pretty well claimed by bears from here basically to here, how well can the bulls do at testing into this? If they do test, does it attract selling and we have another leg lower? Can we take out this low here from today in tomorrow's session? And if so, do we do so on some extreme aggression? So again, it's just putting the pieces together and trying to put things in context and look what the actual evidence is telling you. So it's not just what's price doing, it's not some technical indicator. It's trying to understand what's going on beneath the surface with the order flow, with in a relative sense, in a visually pleasing sense, to determine which side is in control at certain levels, and just kind of play the game piece by piece like that. Try to make better sense of the market to increase your edge. Hopefully that makes sense. If that resonates with you and you like the thought of that and you think that you could certainly increase your edge, which most people certainly could, let us know and we can discuss it further with you. Otherwise, hopefully you have a great evening and a great Thursday. And we'll talk soon.